Despite progress, Canada continues to grapple with a persistent gender gap in STEM programs. And as we mark Gender Equality Week, a new report is shedding light on how to change that. Joining me now to break down some of the findings in the Empowering Girls in STEM report is Jennifer Flanagan, co-founder and CEO of Actua, the organization behind the report. Jennifer, good to speak with you.
Yeah, to you as well. Thanks for having me.
We know women are 30% less likely than men to enroll in post-secondary STEM programs. I'm curious if you can shed light into why that is. What are the barriers, challenges keeping them away?
So we know that we actually have made really good progress in having some university undergraduate programs increase the enrollment of women. We know there are still many others, the ones, several sectors of engineering, computer science, for example. The barriers that we know still exist are around things like stereotyping, who can do science. So we know that, often girls who have always loved science and done well in science when they're younger, somehow do not associate those futures for themselves as in terms of career paths. So we're working to really change how they view science in their lives, what we call science identity. We know that that is also a barrier. What they value needs to line up with what science can actually offer. So we know that it's a question of how they view science. We know it's a question of lack of role models. And we also know that there's still ongoing subtle messages, which are getting worse with social media and AI, around who can do science, who can't do science. And those ongoing subtle messages add up to something that's really hard to overcome.
So how do we turn the tide? What recommendations are made in this report?
So we found through discussions with experts in this field that come at this from various perspectives that the biggest barriers, and I spoke about them, one is STEM identity, which is a sense of value alignment. So it's really important that we talk to girls at a young age about how science impacts their lives, how what matters to them is aligned with what matters in what they can actually do in science. We also know that experiences and opportunities to build digital skills and skills in AI are critically important for girls. So we're working on that in school. We're working on that through programs like Actua's and making sure that parents are aware of how important digital literacy skills are for girls. And then the last thing that really kept coming up and is highlighted in the report is around mental health supports. So we know that girls are far more likely to suffer from poor mental health outcomes. We know that that is exacerbated by things that they could potentially see online. So we need to create safe spaces where girls can explore, they can take risks, they can learn that failure is part of science, a really important part of it, but that their mental health is supported through these processes. Again, there's not one solution here. This is something that we need to be working on from a very young age all the way through to university.
All right, we have the findings, we got the knowledge. Realistically, when do you think we could see gender parity or close to that in STEM programs?
Oh my goodness, that's $1 million, well, I don't know, $1 billion question. I hope sooner rather than later, but the reality is that there's a lot of work still to do. So my approach, I am super optimistic about this. Obviously, I've worked in this space for 20 years. I really believe that for our economic and social prosperity in this country, that we need women equally represented in these fields. We see strides being made, we see improvements being made, and the work just is to continue to call out when these gaps start to form. So AI is a perfect example. That is not something we were contending with a couple of years ago. We know there's a gap right now in AI literacy between girls and boys. So I mean, I'd like to see progress made every single year and, not get sort of tripped up in when we're going to see parity. But I do absolutely think it's possible. I just think it requires all of us, parents, teachers, educators, legislators, everyone that has a stake in the success of the economy, which is everybody.
Well, Jennifer, we thank you for the conversation tonight. It was great speaking with you.
My pleasure.